Years ago, when we were traveling through Scotland and England, we arrived at a charming country inn right over the border from Scotland to England. We were exhausted, we were tired, our room wasn't ready, but the lovely host and hostess offered us a tea and a scone. That was the first time I had ever had a true English scone. And as an American, I really thought it was a biscuit because it was so different than anything I had ever seen before. But I soon learned that an authentic English scone does look a bit like a biscuit, but that's as far as the similarity goes. To make my blueberry lemon scones, you will start with 2 cups of white flour, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of lemon zest. You'll need 1 egg, 1 cup of frozen blueberries, 1/2 cup of very cold unsalted butter, and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. You will also need a baking sheet and a piece of parchment paper, a glass mixing bowl, a pastry scraper, and a pastry cutter. Start by adding your 2 cups of white flour, and add all the dry ingredients at this point. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, and a tablespoon of lemon zest. With your whisk, mix all your dry ingredients together. Your next step is to cut your very cold butter into your flour mixture using a pastry cutter. You can use a food processor, but you'll probably overmix it if you do. So I really highly recommend a pastry cutter. This is a process that takes a few minutes. Your butter is very hard. I've actually had mine in the freezer because you want to keep all of these ingredients very, very cold while you're working with them. We're almost there. I've been mixing this, and you want this mixture to start being about the size of a pea with your butter chunks in your flour. And that's just about where it is right now. You have your mixture where you're happy with it. It's still nice and cold. It's time to add the liquid. 1 beaten egg, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, mix it together before we add the blueberries. Now it's time to add our blueberries. Just fold your blueberries into this mixture. We want to form this mixture into a nice solid ball. I'll work it with my hands as soon as I've got everything incorporated here. So we've got our dough into a nice solid ball, all incorporated, and now it's time to put it out onto a lightly floured board and shape it into scones. Now you want to flatten it out. I'm going to be making these scones today using a biscuit cutter, making them round in a very traditional English way. If you're going to cut them into triangles, it's very easy to do once you bring this into a nice circle. But I'm going to need to flatten it out a little bit more to cut with the round cutter. Using my family heirloom biscuit cutter that's been in my family for as long as I can remember, I'm cutting my scones, dipping it in flour, and cutting my scones in circles. Brushing the top of these lovely round scones with cream, and then I'll sprinkle them with a coarse sugar, and then they'll go in the refrigerator for 15 minutes before they go into a preheated 400-degree oven where they'll bake for 20 to 25 minutes. A little finishing sugar on the top. For your lemon glaze, you'll start with 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of lemon zest, and enough fresh lemon juice to create the right consistency for your glaze. While our scones are in the oven, I'm going to make our glaze, starting with about a generous teaspoon of lemon zest and just little additions of lemon juice until the glaze comes to the consistency that I'm looking for so that I can drizzle it over the top of the scones. don't need very much glaze. This needs to be just a little, just a drop more. And always remember, if you get your glaze too liquid, just add more powdered sugar. Easy to correct. Well, these might not be authentic English scones. These are definitely the most delicious scone I've ever tasted. You're looking for sweet, crumbly edges, a soft, moist center, and a golden brown exterior. These blueberry lemon scones fit that criteria perfectly.